Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Pregame Show here for a Week 7 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings. That is the Carson Wentz-led Minnesota Vikings. The Eagles are in Minnesota today to take on the Vikings at US Bank Stadium. We're here for the JAKIB Pregame Show. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button on the show today. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm joined now by Dan Sileo, host of the National Football Show from 2 to 6 every Monday through Friday here on JAKIB Sports, and John McMullen, host of Birds 365, 8 to 10 a.m. every day here, every weekday here on JAKIB Sports. How you guys doing this morning on a big Week 7 matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles?
All Sunday, and boy, I'll tell you, man, do we have sidebars heading into this game. There are some great sidebars, targets, craziness all week with AJ, rumors of trade. I agree with John, highly unlikely, but we got it all going on in this game. And the way Fox, John, has battled this out. Have you seen the promos? Wentz versus Hurts. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
They are talking
Well,
about
it's always that's part of the problem with the NFL. It's always quarterback versus quarterback, so everybody boils it down. Like nobody else is out there trying to play, it's always quarterback versus quarterback. Then when you have a guy with guys with history, it's even going to be more so. So it'll be more than Carson versus Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, what's the general feeling before we get into some of the nitty-gritty? John, I'll come to you first here. What's the general feeling on this game, John? It's not obviously not a must-win. It's Week 7, but it feels must-win for this team. What do you think of this game, John, coming in Week 7 matchup? Eagles have lost 2 straight.
Well, I think it's been a situation where they go into this game pretty confident. I think that mini bye sort of allowed them to take a look and say, screw this, we're run first team, we're going to run the football. That's what I think is going to happen. And we were talking before we got on air here, and I just said, this is the thing I think a lot of people miss. Like Minnesota is building their team to beat Detroit. Not to say they're going to beat Detroit, but that's what they're building their team for. You look at their defense, which is very good. Brian Flores, my favorite defensive coordinator, very honest about that. Love the guy. Unique, do a lot of things you aren't going to see. It's just interesting to watch. But they're all pass rushers, every single one of them on the defensive front, because they're trying to match up with the Detroit Lions and to a lesser extent the Green Bay Packers, not the Philadelphia Eagles. So when we go all the way back to the off season and all these quarterback lists, how could you put Jalen Hurts that low? Because the rest of the league is trying to set up the play differently. And this is a perfect example of it. So if it's styles make bites, I think the Eagles are going to be able to run the football, and I think they'll be able to get out of there with a win.
Something they haven't been able to do well this year so far, though, John. We'll see. Big Sills coming to you, man. Just kind of your thoughts on this game. 2 straight losses for the Birds, a big one here today.
Boy, are we going to have another meeting before the game? I mean, these meetings are just the stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life. They mean nothing. They're zero. And the Eagles have made these anthills into molehills this year out of every situation that you could possibly find. I don't think it's a must win. I think it's a must emotional win. I mean, they go into the smallest things and they have meltdowns over this stuff. I mean, it's crazy. You're the defending champion. Act like it, man. I mean, you used to be the bully. I think you've lost a little bit of that Teflon. And I think you need to have a game where you go out there and you inflict your will. I haven't seen any of it in 24 quarters of play. That's how I look at a football game. And that's how I look at a football season. I don't look at records. How have you played for 24 minutes? John brings up, he's right. Every single time, the number one thing in a division, you're wanting to beat the head dog in your division. That's how you draft. That's how you sign free agents, all of that. But here, I'll go into this here. He's right. Hargrave and Allen have struggled against the run, but the Eagles have struggled running the ball. I mean, Cam Jurgens has not been very good this year. Landon's been injured, and that threesome that they had last year with Becton and Jurgens and with Landon, they were dominant in the middle. I saw the Dallas Cowboys, who can't stop water, have a pretty decent night against them in the opener. I mean, we're giving the benefit of the doubt that the Eagles are going to turn their run game around. They have not been very good running the ball. They're 25th running the ball this year. Now, again, we're giving the benefit of the doubt because of what they've done, that here they're going to go to this football game and they're going to all of a sudden flip the switch on and they're going to get it right. You know what? I want to see that, because for 24 quarters, I have not seen them run the football. People have flooded the lanes, and they have done the one thing. When I turn on Birds 365 and I hear John talking, dude, they flood the lanes on first and second down. And here's the number one thing that they have not done in 24 quarters. The Eagles are not winning first and second down. And that's why they're third and long, and they're getting these football games, because they're not running the ball effectively.
Yeah, and you've heard the coaches talk about that when they bring up that predictability stuff. You know, when you're in second, third, and long, it's a lot easier to predict, to be predictable in that moment. Guys, the other big storyline today, and I think both of you had some good comments there to open, but we do have, John, I know you like to make fun of it because it's not quarterback versus quarterback, but he is the starting quarterback for the Vikings today, and that's Carson Wentz, the former starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's played okay. He's got a 100 quarterback rating around. He's 2-1 in his 3 starts with them. How big of an impact do you think he has on the game? Because I do think the Vikings have a clear advantage with their pass catchers today over the Eagles' corners. I know Quinion is going to play, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to cover Justin Jefferson, who's one of the best cornerbacks in football. John, how do you see that part of it playing into the game today?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The quarterback is always impactful. So obviously, and Carson Wentz is playing a heck of a lot better than J.J. McCarthy was playing. So it's kind of a soft benching, and this is big for Carson Wentz and it's soft benching of McCarthy, because if he wins and beats the Eagles, and then they play Thursday against the Chargers, if he wins those 2 games, he's the starting quarterback. Period. End of sentence. Forget about J.J. McCarthy, unless there's an injury. He is the starting quarterback. So this is like his last chance to prove, I'm one of the 32 guys. I should be a starting quarterback in this league. And to be honest, he is. He is one of the best 32. You've seen it over the games he's played. But we know how the NFL works. If you're an aging quarterback, and for him, he's got journeyman status now, you have a very small path to keep your job. And that small path is win, and nobody's going to take you off the field. But the first poor performance, they're going to go back to J.J. McCarthy. So it's a very, very important game for Carson Wentz. Obviously, you know, he talked about being with the Eagles, and he's learned a lot of things. He's matured. But I'm sure deep down he'd like to beat the team that benched him way back when, and he wasn't happy with, and forced his way out. I think there's a lot of revisionist history. I think a lot of people forget when Nick Sirianni was hired, the original plan was, all right, this guy's going to fix Carson Wentz. And Carson said, nope, I don't want to be any part of it. And forced his way out to Indianapolis. And people forget he played well in Indianapolis until late in that season. So he's got some talent. But some of the old bugaboos that Eagles fans remember about Carson Wentz still exist. He'll hold on to the football, third and long. He's susceptible to those strip sacks and forced fumbles. Now, problem is the Eagles haven't had much of a pass rush since Zadarius Smith is gone. We'll see if Brian O'Neill is active. It'll come out in the next few minutes, I assume, who's inactive, who isn't. He's been out. Donovan Jackson will be back. So most of their offensive line will be back if Brian O'Neill's out there, and they have 2 very good tackles. So that matches up well. And you mentioned the receivers. The receivers are great. Jefferson, Addison. Not only that, their third guy, Jalen Nailor's really, really fast. Adam Thielen's the 4th guy, and he's just smart and savvy. We know him from last year playing against. He was the one guy who made Cooper DeJean look bad as a rookie because he's such a good route runner. So they're very deep at receiver. They'll score some points, and that means the Eagles have to score some points.
No doubt. Big Sileo, what do you think, man? Wentz in the matchup today versus the Birds. What do you think?
I would also throw in Hawkinson too. Their tight end is pretty good coming across the middle of the scene there too. So reclamation projects is a storyline though this year in the NFL. If one thing shows you what John just said, if you're Carson Wentz, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold, do you think the Vikings would like to have that conversation back?
Worst personnel move of the offseason. I tell Zander all the time.
Yeah.
If you pick one bad Sills, it wasn't only Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones wanted to play there. Aaron Rodgers wanted to play there. And they said, nope, we want to go with J.J. McCarthy. Worst personnel decision in the entire NFL in the offseason.
Absolutely. When he got drafted out of Michigan, I remember Zander and I going, what? Are you crazy? I mean, I never got that move, but like you said, John, look at the reclamation projects. Baker Mayfield right now is probably the MVP of the National Football League in the early part of the season. This guy's been on 4 teams already. So if you're Carson Wentz, this is your moment here. Obviously, pass rush is going to be the key. And anytime you face Wentz, if you can't get to that dude, that guy is going to find the holes in your secondary. If you get to him, that's where you are going to win this battle. But, hey, Addison, like you said, Jefferson, Hawkinson, dude, they can put some points up on the board. They can get some yards on you. The problem for them has been 20 in. You know, from 20 to 20, they're going to move the sticks. But for me, again, holding the ball will be the key in this game. Can they get strip sacks? Is Vic going to pressure them? Now, you know, he's got to manufacture pass rush here because, as John said, they've got really nothing out of those guys when it comes to pressure. Are you going to see Campbell more out there? Are we going to see him being a factor because they have not really shown anybody to get any kind of pressure on the football? But, yeah, no doubt. This is going to come down, in my opinion, to pass rush. If Carson Wentz is able to sit back there and he's able to throw the ball, I saw a dude in Jackson Dart outplay everybody on the field. He was the best quarterback on the field. They had nothing. Well, I'll tell you what, this might be, to John's point a couple weeks ago, when you saw the Rams wideouts, dude, this might be the best threesome that they'll face until they take on Detroit in a couple weeks. When they see that group up there, it's a pretty formidable group. If you don't get to them, Wentz will find the open guy here. So this will be key on getting pressure on him.
Yeah, and Hawkinson, too, is up there. Johnny Mac, is this the first game without Zadarius Smith, obviously outside of week 1 when he signed after that game? Big Sills brings up the pressure there. What is the plan, John, you think? How does Vic figure this out today with Nolan Smith on IR and now Zadarius Smith retired? He hung up the cleats on us mid-season. Make of that what you will. John, what do you think the plan is for Vic Fangio today?
Yeah, I think you'll see a little bit more, and it could be both. It could be either. It could be one or the other. But Zach Bond, Jihad Campbell, I think you'll see them lined up on the edge, especially in obvious passing situations a little bit more. Maybe that's enables you to get Nakobe Dean in at linebacker. So you sort of have to do it a different way. But as far as the edge rushers, it's Jalix Hunt, it's Josh Uche, it's Azeez Ojulari, and it's Patrick Johnson. And again, if Brian O'Neill is playing at right tackle, Christian Darrisaw at left tackle, that they ain't getting much. I'll tell you that, unless you're doing some things to manufacture that pass rush. It's a good group of tackles, and I'm trying to keep my eye on.
Yeah, we got some breaking news here.
Yeah, Brandon Graham. So now strongly considering coming out of retirement. That's not good. I love Brandon, but that's not good.
But that's good football when he was out there last year.
He did, but that's not the situation you want to be in. But that's what the situation.
Look, a lot of times you hear this name and you're like, oh, it's just one of those fan things. Now it's being reported by, Adam Schefter, who puts out there that now he's considering coming back. That came out a minute ago. Brandon Graham obviously played 15 seasons here in Philly. Is BG coming back? Oh, bye. The storylines of this season are just.
I wonder if that's more about leadership issues on the defensive side of the football team and also the team, period. Okay, maybe that's more because it's been rudderless when it comes to leadership on that side of the football. On the defensive side, I mean, boy, Brandon Graham, that's what you're reaching for now?
Yeah,
You
that's
got to
not,
be kidding me, man.
Sales, Brandon
That's
Graham
not a
or
positive.
Azeez Ojulari?
Hey, John, between John's Timu and retirement home guys, you guys got it going on at the edge rushing position now. I mean,
Well, the team guys aren't working. Maybe the retirement home works better.
I mean, I thought he was ready for his AARP. I mean, come on here. He gets a free meal a day.
his locker's open. So Darius was in his locker, so he can fit right back in there. But
holy cow, PG.
yeah, I mean, and by the way, Brian O'Neill is active. So that's big for the Vikings. For the Eagles, AJ Dillon is inactive. First time this year. Mac McWilliams, Drew Kendall, Grant Calcaterra, we knew was ruled out. Sam Howell is the emergency quarterback. So obviously the big news, Jalen Carter, Landon Dickerson are active as expected. Quinyon Mitchell was a full. He didn't have a game designation. So all those guys are playing. So that's good for the Eagles.
Hey, John, is it neck with Dillon?
No, he's a healthy scratch.
Healthy. Wow. Okay.
He's been that second back for most of the year.
Right. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's a surprise it's taken me that long. If you think about Shipley started the season as the backup and got hurt very early in the first game. And it took a while to get him back in that position. I don't know why it took that long, but that's, at this stage, he's a better option than AJ Dillon. He's also a better fit from a standpoint of a curveball. When you think about, you have a big back and Saquon. Now, I don't want to compare Saquon and AJ Dillon, but from that perspective, like you saw last year with Saquon and Kenny Gainwell, there's a little bit of a change up with those two guys. Same thing with Shipley, not with Dillon. Not that Dillon is as explosive as Saquon, but you get the point. There wasn't that similar change up, so I'm surprised. And Tank Bigsby obviously is active, so even though he can't catch a kickoff and hasn't had an offensive snap, but Howie gave up 2 picks for him. So, yeah, not good news for AJ Dillon.
John, for you to for that to get out there, obviously there's been conversation. You're so bad at edge. Honestly, I'm kind of kidding here. That you got to reach there? Wow.
Well, I think it also says something about the trade market because it's coming up on November 4th. Right. So you have, October 19th. So you have a little over 2 weeks. That indicates some of the names you've heard, whether the Miami guys, Phillips, Chubb, Jermaine Johnson, some of these edge rushers. Maybe it's looking like Howie's not going to be able to pull that off. So you got to get help somewhere. And don't get me wrong, Brandon Graham can come off the couch and be better than some of the guys that are going to be playing today. But it's not, you didn't want to be going down this path, and that's the path they're on, unfortunately.
Guys, could BG help with the leadership in the locker room? This is a very young defense. We talked about that all offseason. They've had some discipline problems this year, starting with week 1 with Jalen Carter. Obviously, we all know what happened there. You think that's an advantage there that the Eagles might be thinking about as well? Bring back an established vet who might be able to steady some of the waters there on the defensive side of the ball. Is that a part of it, or more about play on the field? I would assume, but that might be a part of it as well.
They don't need a leader, although he is a leader. They need help on the field.
They need players, man.
Yeah, they need players.
Hey, look, you getting your ass kicked. I don't care.
I think they need both, to be honest with you guys.
Listen, you in the league 16 years, you're getting your ass kicked, man. I don't care what kind of guy you are. You ain't leading anything. I mean, you lead by example. You lead by winning. You lead by going out and doing your job. I mean, you're reaching into the AARP guys now. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, to John's point, they're probably putting so many feelers out right now. There is no question that they have not contacted Cincinnati and Duke Tobin for Trey Hendrickson. If you're talking about Brandon Graham, you're talking about everybody that could be possibly available with teams like the Jets guys in play, Johnson, the kid from Florida State. All those guys are in play. Now it's just going to be equity. How much do you want to give up? Second, third, fourth rounders? You know this. As you get closer to that November 4th trading deadline, Huss, you're going to be able to hold the Eagles hostage on this. Hey, you really want a guy? I want a 2 and 3 on this. in the offseason, that's where you really get your value, where you're going to get a good pick, where you can get a guy that maybe you don't have to give the farm up for. But if you're going out right now, all the things that Howie had the advantage on, I think Howie Roseman's had an awful offseason here. And I'll say this. I'll make this point to you, too. I mean, they've mortgaged 25 a little bit so they can be great in 26 and 27. Not that he's done anything wrong, because he has to look and have the insight to go with the foresight and understand what's going on. But, boy, I'll tell you what, man, the replacements that they have, these are practice squad guys they have on their team. The fall-off has been massive so far.
They're playing like the true Sills. They're not very productive on the football field at all. So we will see. We'll keep you guys posted on the Brandon Graham news. We just saw that come out. We will see if they will bring him back. Or
let me ask John this question here. John, is there anybody that they've brought in that hasn't had a massive fall off from what the guy they had from the Slays, the Gardner Johnsons, anybody that you would go, you know what? Maybe Steen, the replacement. I know they didn't bring him in. But
Morrow's been fine too, as well. Morrow's played good, played well. And Tyler's played well. But you still have drop off from what left. But those guys, I don't look at them and say, oh, they've been bad football players. Now, where it really stands out is edge, corner,
a little bit of safety.
Little bit of safety. I think they're happy at safety though, because you live with the growing pains with Makuba, but I think they're pretty happy with it
but John,
overall.
That's affected the play of Reed. Reed
hasn't played well, which he bet on himself and maybe he's losing. So Milton bet on himself last year and won. Maybe Reed's betting on himself and losing a little bit. That's the other part of it. The assumption that guys are just going to play the same as they played during a great season. There are ups and downs. It's not a linear path upward. And, you can look at even guys who had superstar seasons like Saquon, most notably. And even Zach Bond, who's played great, but he hasn't played as well as last year. He's played great. Saquon obviously hasn't played as well as last year. So you have that fluctuation year to year, season to season, even with good players. And certainly with above average and mediocre players that might even get more pronounced when you have a career year. But yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it since day one, and it's amazing to see the shift because everybody would get mad at me when I said, it's not going to be easy to replace Josh Sweat. Not going to be easy to replace Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, even Oren Burks.
Well, it's even harder to replace him when you go to the Temu market and you pick exclusively from there, John.
But I'm glad Dan pointed out it's about more than one season. They specifically said, we are doing this.
Yeah.
We are doing this because of what's coming. So I'm not going to sit here because Howie, made it very clear. This is something we are doing. So I expected the Temu signings to not work out. I was not the one who said Azeez Ojulari might be this year's Zach Bond.
Yeah, but also the future projection doesn't look perfect yet either. I mean, a lot of that is based, okay, we're going to have to pay no one. Are we paying no one?
But Zander, John is right. He told you
I know he did. He said, remember he said it's going to look different. Yeah, I remember when he said
it at the combines. This is not going to look like, what you guys think.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see what they end up doing with it. The Temu stuff has not worked out, though, and 25 season is struggling from it right now. Coming off 2 straight losses here for the Birds. I'm going to call it a must-win today. I know it's not must-win in a literal sense, but this team got to get back on the rails or this thing might fall out from under them. Guys, let's talk a little bit about the Eagles' offense here. Jalen Hurts and the offensive side of the ball, they have not, to this point, carried their water, in my opinion. They're ranked 30th, but even if you leave the ranking out of it, they're not passing the eye test. They disappear for entire halves at a time. They have good halves, then they have absolutely historically bad halves where they don't complete a pass or they have -1 yards. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Eagles offense. Is today the day they get it going? Johnny Mack, what do you need to see from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense today?
Well, I think they're going to run the football. I think they're coming in with that mentality, and I think they're going to be able to run the football. And I think Jordan Mailata said it best: if we run the football, everything fixes itself. And I believe that. And until they do it, I have no problem with somebody else disputing it. But I think this team, styles make fights. I think this team is susceptible, and they're like I said. Sills brought up Javon Hargrave. Eagles fans are familiar with him. Great pass rusher, really poor against the run. Jonathan Allen for years, great pass rusher, really poor against the run. It's their top 5 defensive linemen. Jalen Redmond, good player. People don't know him. Good player, pass rusher, not a run stopper. Even the backups, Levi Drake Rodriguez, good player, good young player, pass rusher, not a run stopper. Ty Ingram Dawkins, who I think is inactive anyway because he's hurt. Pass rusher, not a run defender. Their entire team is built that. Now they are getting Blake Cashman back, who is their middle linebacker, very good player. That'll help a little bit, but he's almost out there by himself when it comes to stopping the run. Andrew Van Ginkel's the other good player, but he's out. He's their best defensive player. That's big for the Eagles. He's been out for a while now. I don't look at that team. And you could see the way they played. Bijan Robinson gassed them. Quinshon Judkins, a rookie, gassed them. Kenny Gainwell gassed them with Pittsburgh because Warren was out in that particular game. They cannot stop the run. So I'll tell you this. If the Eagles can't run the football in this game, then you might sound the alarm.
John, what is your premise though, like based on for that they're going to be able to run the ball? Is it only because they were able to run the ball last year? Because in the 2025 year, John, they haven't run the ball versus anybody. Nobody. None of the 6 teams they've played against. Now, I know the Vikings aren't good, but right now it's weakness on weakness. Is it just a progression to the mean? You always say regression to the mean. Maybe it's more of that.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Last year at, what was it, 5.8?
Yes.
3.4 yards per carry. He's still Saquon Barkley. He had better numbers with the New York Giants. And the Eagles seem to go through this on a yearly basis. They start out and they say, let's try to get the passing game more involved. Let's try to get that going. Let's try to be more. And then they hit the bump in the road. And that was the Giants game. And they had the extra time, a little bit extra time. And they say, screw this. We're going back to this. And I think that's what's going to happen today. That's what happened during the mini bye, which is really more for the coaches than the players because the players are not practicing. It's not extra. It's collectively bargained out of the game. But the coaches have extra time. And I think from everybody I've talked to this week, it's pretty clear they're going to try to run the football. So if they don't run the football, then it might be time to panic. I don't think this is a must-win game. I think all that nonsense is ridiculous. I've heard now that Kevin, but if he doesn't do this and do that, he's going to get fired at the bye. All of that nonsense is off to the side. That's sort of the screaming and the extremes. But if they can't run the football in this game, I would be very concerned.
You say extremes, John. I'll tell you what's extreme. 30th ranked offense in football. Big Sills coming to you, my friend. Look, I'm more on you with this, Sills. They haven't ran the ball yet this year. I'm going off of 24 quarters of football. I get it. The Vikings aren't great at it, but until I see it, I'm not really confident they're going to be able to pull it out. What do you see in offense today, Big Sills?
I'm very glad to see that my friend John McMullen watches Craig Carton. Thank you very much.
I saw Carton put that out. I don't know.
I'm like
Carton
Craig, I said, yeah, I like it here. But let's put some context on that Atlanta game. Atlanta's got one of the top 3 offensive lines in pro football. That's a hell of an offensive line.
It is a good offensive line.
Bijan is outstanding.
Bijan's the best running back in football. I said it. Now explain Quinshon Judkins and Kenny Gainwell.
I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh, though, has a pretty decent offensive line as well.
Come on.
Come on. Here. Well, again, John, I haven't seen the Eagles at all run the ball very effectively at all this year.
Well, you haven't seen it this year, but you saw it for the 3.5 years prior.
I did. And as you say, every year is different. And you're going against Brian Flores. Brian Flores is in the room with Todd Bowles. These are guys that know how to cover deficiencies in their defense. I mean, and I agree with John. Listen, if you can't run on those two tackles inside, one of the reasons that there's two reasons Hargrave's not here anymore. $20 million, and he couldn't play the run. I mean, I'm not paying $20 million. That's what the 49ers found out, and they moved his ass after 1 year. There's no doubt. We always said that about him. He had 11 sacks in 22, right? They were still 16th against the run. This is going to come down, and it's plain and simple. This is meat and potatoes football here. If that team does not win, here's a number. If they don't have more rushing yards than the Minnesota Vikings and the Vikings are in the room with them and it's compatible, Vikings win this football game. Okay, but if they run for 170 yards, 200 yards, they beat them pretty comfortably. Because here's the one thing that has not changed in a year and now 6 games, and maybe even further back. And all week long, the Philadelphia people didn't want to hear this. The quarterback is limited. He's going to have to run and be part also of the run game. He's going to have to be more involved in the run game. You're going to have to see a pretty decent, effective run game out of him for them to be able to
Flores is going to take that away. I think he's going to do that. I think Flores is going to
about setting the edge with the Vikings here. The Vikings,
I think they're really going to try and keep him in the pocket.
Dude, this is if they can't run the football in here, Vikings can put a game on them the same way the Giants put a game on them. The one thing that Giants team showed, you know how limited, Zander, the New York Giant roster is? I mean, they're a couple ticks up from the Titans roster. They have nothing at wide receiver. They're very limited in the O-line, except for the left tackle. And I think Minnesota's got a better roster.
Than the Giants? Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that. But look, if the Eagles play like they did against the Giants, yeah, they're going to get destroyed.
John, you said by all accounts, you're thinking they're going to come out running. And there was a lot of talk this week about more meetings and more offensive discovery.
The meetings.
Are you telling me, though, that the discovery that they've talked about again is the same as it was last year? All right, everybody, we got to run the football.
That was
I think so. I think so.
Those meetings, all those meetings things are for the media and for the more so for the fans. Meetings, dude. Really? Meetings?
All they do is meet. I say it every day. All they do is meet. They get there in the morning, they meet.
Hey, John, go out and play on Sunday and knock someone on their ass. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, no, you know what I need? The
meetings part of it is, it's laughable.
It's stupid.
So, but from the standpoint of, look, and again, I go back to Jordan Mailata. They're going to throw the ball better if they run the ball better. So, I mean, it's all copacetic, and people will be happy. Oh, they're throwing the ball.
Hey, John, wait a minute here on AJ, though. So I saw a 57-year-old Joe Flacco throw 45 targets the other night. AJ Brown's got 45 targets in 6 games.
And I mentioned that the assumption that the people that want the Eagles, and Zander and I have talked about how easy it was for Joe Flacco to get the ball to Jamar Chase, and he's been there for 10 days or whatever.
10 days.
They play a different style. You can't practice. You know this, Dan. Did you ever in your entire football career do something that you didn't practice?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't know why people can't understand that simple football truth of life. I always bring up
John, the context would be this: we play a 43 my entire life. All of a sudden, the next day, the coach comes in and goes, "We're going to play a 34." What?
Yeah, right.
How do you do that?
I think people go there though because we got these big, high-powered receivers that many talk about as one of the best duos in football. We don't use them.
Well, and that's the entire hope of the Philadelphia Eagles, and the entire setup is about being able to run the ball effectively. And if you run the ball effectively, then all of a sudden you got to creep up in the box to stop the run. Then all of a sudden you have better coverage looks on the outside. You can take advantage of the receivers. That's their whole philosophy. And it's been their philosophy since about, week 7, week 8 of Nick Sirianni's first season. And part of it is, to the point, nobody wants to have the difficult conversations. Part of it is the quarterback is limited. He's not a high volume thrower. But people don't want to admit that. So that's fine. But they're not going to be Joe Flacco with 23 targets to Jamar Chase. They're not going to be that.
If the Eagles fall flat in the next 2 games, will Kevin Patullo be fired at the bye week?
Define fall flat. This is the problem. This is the problem I have with that particular inference. It's so easy. It's so easy. You've been in this industry for a long time, Dan. You can look at the bye week.
It's the quarterback. It's not the coordinator.
But when you talk about coordinators being fired, if they score 3 points against Minnesota and 10 points against the New York Giants, Jeffrey Lurie's going to step in and say, we got to make a move.
Yeah.
If they don't, and they score 30 points today, they scored 30 points well, he figured it out. No, he didn't. He didn't figure it out. There's an assumption. First of all, Nick Sirianni's not firing him, number one.
I agree.
So it would be coming from the top, which I'm not. And ownership is more geared towards sort of the emotional view, I would say. And if it's really bad, which I don't think it's going to be, but if it's really bad, sure, it's a possibility. But that's part of the game, man. You look at this, you look at the bye week, and you say, oh shit, if they have 2 really fucking bad games against the Giants again, remember the second game would be against the Giants. Yeah, maybe. But it's easy to say, well, they scored 28 points against the Vikings. They scored 27 against the Giants. So they figured it out. And everything I said was true. That's part of the grift, man. It's part of the grift that's been going on for years. Look at the bye week. That's where somebody's going to make a change. The Eagles have done it in the past. By the way, Nick Sirianni learned from the Sean Desai debacle. And the second part of it, who are they hiring?
I don't know. I don't think they're built to do it. They're not. I'm just going off of
that. Do people think they're going outside the organization? So you're talking about Jason Michael or Scott Loeffler. Nick has already said.
Did Nick call plays or no?
No, he already said multiple times.
We saw that 2 and 4. Here, let me go here for you, Zander. If you can't shoot free throws,
unless he's forced to,
yeah, maybe. Zander, if you can't shoot free throws, and I hire you a free throw shooting coach, is it the coach or is it the guy shooting the free throws? It's the guy shooting the free throws. It's the quarterback, dude. You look at Kellen Moore a year ago. The guy's through. Do you know that right now that Spencer Rattler, John, is 5th in passing attempts? Spencer Rattler is 5th in passing attempts.
And by the way, think about who Spencer Rattler's coach is.
He's a nobody.
No, but think about who Spencer Rattler's coach is.
Doug Musmeyer.
No, I'm talking about Kellen Moore.
Okay,
it's both of them, but I'm talking about Kellen Moore specifically. Kellen Moore didn't want to play the offense they played.
No
offensive coordinator does, but that's the offense they play. Because they build it around the quarterback.
That's right. It's the quarterback, dude. You could bring in.
I know, but who's easier to scapegoat?
You could bring John Gruden in. He would be forced to go.
I know, but still,
quarterback skill set.
You said something perfect last week. It's so much easier for this Eagles team to scapegoat Kevin Patullo than, for example, somebody on the defensive side. You can't scapegoat Vic Fangio and say, hey, it's Vic Fangio, fire him. That's why the defense stinks.
Do you think there's any coincidence that there's been 8 coordinators on both sides of the ball since 21? I mean, good and bad. Good and bad. They don't have a problem. If you could take out Doug or Andy Reid, you could take out Nick Sirianni or any of these guys because that's how the organization operates. I mean, here's the thing. You know this, when you get a job in Philly, if you're a coordinator, You're either going to be a head coach in the National Football
exactly.
League or you're out.
Now, and some people argue this is why Nick Sirianni, because the only way you can prevent upheaval at the coordinator positions is to have a head coach who calls the plays.
Play caller. Yeah, that's right. Chris Long said that, John. Chris Long said that the herring on the wall is that the one thing that will always be a problem in Philly is that the guy is not a play calling head coach. So you're always going to have that revolving door at that coordinator position.
But you know, I think you saw last year. I don't even think Kellen Moore had a good year.
I don't either. I don't think he did anything to help Jalen.
Are you guys telling me that Jalen Hurts is more limited than Spencer Rattler?
I'm telling you that
as a passer, yeah.
I'm telling you that Kellen Moore is more comfortable throwing the football with Spencer Rattler. You know. Now,
hey, Zander, listen. But
this season is going to
he's got more tools, though. He's got more tools in the toolbox.
Now, you know, they don't have the same. You know, they have to throw it more. They're behind. There's a lot of things that factor into it. The Saints are always playing from behind. That factors into it. But the bottom line is, you don't even have to worry about the Saints. When he was in Dallas for all those years, look at his offense versus what it was here. He doesn't want to play that style of offense he played here. He's a good coach, so he morphed it around the players in the system and the offensive line and the running back he had, and it worked. That's the definition of a good coach. Again, you know, you have different situations. If you look at Nick Sirianni in Indianapolis, he didn't play this way when he had Phillip Rivers or
San Diego when he was the wide receiver and quarterback coach with.
Well, he wasn't in charge of the offense. He was in charge of the offense.
The problem is I've seen Jalen Hurts play so much better than this. I've seen it with my own two eyes.
The running game is cooking. Running game's not cooking. He will play better.
Sanders had 1,300 yards in 2022.
Yeah, and DeAndre Swift had, I think, a Pro Bowl.
Bro, do you understand that every year that prior to this year, right, John, they've had a Pro Bowl running back?
Yep. Every single year.
It didn't matter if it was Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley. They've had an All-Pro or a Pro Bowl running back all 3 years. I mean, and if you're not running the football, do you imagine you're losing? John, I saw a number. Get this. 36% of the time on carries by Saquon Barkley this year, he's been hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So that's an O-line issue right there.
Correct. That's the interior of the O-line that I mentioned.
The way this team is built,
the way this team is built,
the way this team is built, we either dominate the trenches or we have a tough outcome. Basically,
you have it.
I know we haven't.
I mean, and that's the way they built the team, to dominate in the trenches, and they haven't done it yet. So that's why it's a little bit uneven. But they're still 4-2. That's the part. You know, I saw one power rankings. You know, it's meaningless as they are, but I saw one on one of the pregame shows this morning, and it's got the Rams, who are playing well in London this morning, running away with that game. It's got the Rams in there. It's got Tampa Bay in there. It's got Kansas City in there. Well, the Eagles beat all those teams. So, and they beat all those teams not playing at an optimum level. By no means am I trying to say this is. I think they're going to right the ship today. I think they're going to beat the Giants, and I think everybody's going to be back on the bullshit, the extra extreme. Oh, they're back. I'm not even going to say they're back.
They are back, baby.
Green Bay and Detroit will tell me a
Yes,
lot.
Green Bay and Detroit will tell the tale of this team.
Yep,
I agree with that.
That's right.
So that's why I look at this game and I say, look, if they get blown out, that tells me something. That tells me something that is not good.
Big trouble.
Other than that outcome, if they win a close game, if they lose a close game, even if they blow them out, it's not going to tell me that much. The only thing that's going to tell me that much about this game is if they get blown out, which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think that's.
But that is something that would create some concerns. These next 2 weeks, especially the Giants, you don't want to look ahead of this game. If they lose that game again, then maybe it's time to panic. I don't think that's happening. You're not going to learn about this team until after the bye, until Detroit, until Green Bay.
All right, guys, who wins the football game today? Sills, I'll start with you.
I have not seen the Philadelphia Eagles run the football all year long effectively like they did a year ago. You know what? I think a lot of that 2,005 yards, I don't really think it affected Saquon Barkley. I think it's affected the offensive line a lot, especially interior-wise, where those guys, Landon Dickerson had 2 knee surgeries and 2 procedures in the offseason heading into this season. He hasn't been healthy since last year. Cam Jurgens has not played very well. As a matter of fact, that guy went from being one of the top 3 guys in the league at his position. I thought when Frank Ragnow retired, I thought he was going to ascend as being the best guy in the national or in the NFC. No way. That guy has played poorly this year so far. And to me, that's an equalizer to what Minnesota doesn't do well. I think Minnesota gets after the quarterback well. I think Brian Flores is everywhere. As John says, he is in the conversation with the Spagnolas. He's in the conversation with the Todd Bowles. He's in that room. Isaiah Rodgers, I think, is having a spectacular season. And I think they're going to be able to get that football to some of those wideouts. And I think you're going to see guys being able to find some open space there. And if you can't get the Wentz, and I haven't seen any indication, 2 things: you haven't run the ball well, and I haven't seen pressure. I'm going Minnesota here, 27-24 at home, and I'm going to take the Vikings in a win at home.
27-24 Minnesota. Yeah, Vikings doing a little bit of trolling too. They dropped Isaiah Rodgers on the cover of the game book that they give to the media.
Ziggy Wilf kind of twisting them in, John.
Yeah, John, who you got today, man? You're more confident in the Eagles than both Sills and I today, which is a nice, pleasant surprise. What do you got today, J-Mac?
Yeah, I felt a confident aspect, and I think it has to do with the style of the opponent. I've said it pretty consistently. They just are not equipped to stop the run. I think it's the perfect opponent at the perfect time for an Eagles team struggling with the run. I think they're going to double down on it. And again, I'll say it for the 3rd time. If we run the football, Jordan Mailata, everything will take care of itself. I think then you see some of the plays outside, take advantage of it. And I love Isaiah Rodgers. Good dude. Had a tremendous game against Cincinnati with Jake Browning. He's not one of the top cornerbacks in football who can shut down play action and when you're in second and short situations, things like that. So I think it's a classic styles make fights, and the Vikings built their team for the Detroit Lions, not the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think it's going to show up today.
We'll see. So
what was your score, John? Hey,
28-23 still, John? Wait, real quick. So
28-23.
28-23, John's got. All right, I got 24-20 Eagles, and I don't know. I listen to Sills, and I'm like, I don't know. I listen to John, and I'm like, I don't know. So we'll see. I got the Birds winning 24-20.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
If I knew, both John and I and you wouldn't be here. I'd be on a beach with Powerball numbers. How do you know that Isaiah Rodgers isn't this year's version of Zach Bond for Minnesota?
Oh, I don't know. So far, he has been close to
that. You can't have the impact on the game outside, number one, consistently. Obviously, he did again in one game against Cincinnati. But, if you're an outside cornerback in this league, which is what Isaiah is playing, it's very difficult to have the impact on the game as Zach Bond had last year. So, number one, it's just the position. It's very difficult. And I don't think he's a shutdown corner. I don't think there's any evidence of that. He made big plays. He stripped the football, ran it for a touchdown. He can run 23 miles an hour. He's
Johnny is one of the highest rated corners in the league right now.
He's not a press coverage corner where you sit and go. And by the way, even those guys, the Patrick Surtains.
Yeah, but it's the zone defenses, John, that have been destroying the Eagles.
That's what Q plays.
Yeah. Q plays a lot, which I've been telling Eagles fans for years as they call it lockdown. How many times have I told people that?
Yeah,
the Eagles play a ton of zone, but they play what's called man match coverages. So it looks like man coverage inside the zone, and then they sort of hand it off when they leave the zone. Flores does a lot of those things. It's interesting. Well, Brian, as I said, he's my favorite defensive coordinator. I think you're going to see, because of the Eagles' struggles against zone, if third and long, obviously not first down, I think you're going to see a lot of 3-man rushes and 8-man drops.
Yeah,
like, he will do that.
They're going to put 9 on the. They're going to put 9 up like.
Oh yeah, they'll put everybody on the line of scrimmage and then drop out.
Yep.
John, you know what's interesting? You have given, and I don't want to speak for you, but you've given this team a lot of the benefit of the doubt this year based on what they've been able to do in the past. I mean, John, 6 weeks. I know the Giants is the game that boiled over, but this offense has not looked good, John. Every game
didn't look good last year.
Yeah, but they could run last year. They don't. They can't run this year. And you bring up Detroit. Detroit's a better comp for Minnesota. Detroit's got 2 running backs who play well. I mean, they run the football, Detroit. We can't pass and we can't run one.
Hank Fraley, their O-line coach for the Detroit Lions, has done a spectacular
amazing
job.
They lost 2 great offensive linemen this year.
Dude, he has done a great job.
I say the same thing about Beck when everybody says the Eagles struggle against the run, which they do at times. Brian's in the same category. A lot of modern defensive coordinators are willing to give up a little bit in the run game to be sure in pass coverage, which again, that's the way most of the league operates. Remember, Vic Fangio doesn't have to play his own offense. I said last year, the Eagles had the best offense in football. I think the Eagles offense would have bullied the shit out of them if they had to play their own offense, last year's offense, not this year's offense. Most of the NFL operates in that manner. That's how the Eagles operate defensively. That's how the Vikings operate defensively. But the Vikings are really poor at it. Like there are teams, Vic at times, Vic will do some different things. He'll drop 5 on the line of scrimmage. He'll drop even the 6-man front to try to, if it gets really bad when it comes to stopping the run game. Flores really doesn't do that, or he hasn't done that to this point. Look, they made a couple bad personnel decisions. I talked about quarterback. They also gave up Harrison Phillips, which made no sense. One of the best nose tackles in football who could stop the run. And you had Phillips and Cashman and Van Ginkel, and they were fine. Well, for the past 4 weeks, they haven't had Phillips, Van Ginkel, or Cashman. Now they have Cashman back. That'll help a little bit, but they still don't have Van Ginkel and they still don't have Phillips.
Interesting stuff, guys. We got a couple minutes left here on the show. I do want to get to some of the great people of JAKIB Nation. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Got a big crowd in here. Hit that like button. Birds coming off of 2 straight losses. Haven't said that since the 2023 collapse. All right. Will they get on the win, back in the win column today? We will see. Let's go to some super chats to here today. RMP becomes a member. Thank you, real RMP. Appreciate it, brother. Here's some Black Ninja. He says, Big Still, Zander, Johnny Mac. I'm on my way to the game, and I'm going to be on the green zone today. I'm effing psyched. Go Birds, 28-21. Birds in overtime. He's picking an overtime.
Overtime.
He's playing in the green zone today, which
Extra
means
football.
You must have gotten the tickets through the great JAKIB promotion that we had, the Savvy Seat. So enjoy the game, some Black Ninja, and we will see you on the green zone. For those who do not know what the green zone is, listen to it during the game. It's the live call of the game here on JAKIB Sports.
I'll tell you what. I played at the old 3H Dome. I hear everyone loves this new place. Let me tell you this. You freeze your faggots off at that old place, John. Hey, Xander, the old place, the Hubert Humphrey Dome, was one of the loudest places I've ever played a football game in my entire life.
This place is loud too, Sills, but not as quite as loud as the Metrodome. But the Metrodome was a dump.
The Gophers played in there too, John.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I spent 10 years of my life out there. I got a lot.
Can you imagine John in galoshes?
when Red, this is how big of a dump that the Metrodome was. When Red McCombs owned the Vikings, which was not a good era, he would have to go to the bathroom in the press box because they didn't even have bathrooms. It was a bad scene.
I knew Red McCombs. He was the former owner of iHeart. I knew him very well. He's a car dealer's guy in San Antonio.
Red would flip sports teams. He flipped a couple NBA teams. He flipped, I believe, the Nuggets, the Spurs, and he flipped the Vikings, and he made a shitload of money.
He sure did.
Good stuff there. Appreciate everybody for being here. I want to give a shout out as well to one more guy from JAKIB Nation. Chris Baker's out there with his pop for the game. I think Chris's dad is a Viking fan, and he is an Eagle fan, and they're going to duke it out in the stand today. We will see who gets the W.
By the way, they're very nice people in Minnesota.
They are. Great place. Great place.
You'll have fun.
Josh has been a little bit doom and gloom this week. Like me, Josh, you and me both, my friend. He says, guys, I woke up with a bit of a hangover this morning, but I may need some more bourbon to drown my sorrows if this goes south. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, brother. Get the bourbon ready, Josh. I'm not sure how this thing's going to go. Here's Penn. He says, hey, guys, I got my JAKIB merch. Much appreciated. Awesome, Penn. Appreciate it. Good stuff there. Appreciate all the.
Hey, Zander, Minneapolis, some of the best steakhouses you can.
Oh, man. Manny's and Murray's, man. Yep. I was telling that's one of the reasons I wish I was out there, because I was telling Ed Kratz and Manny's
great
and Murray's,
French onion soup at that place.
Yeah. You haven't lived until you had a butter knife steak, where you can cut a steak with a butter knife.
Right.
Dude, it's such a great steakhouse.
I love a good steak, guys. Don't get me start drooling here at 12 o'clock in the morning. All right, guys, couple minutes left here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. Kickoff is 1 p.m., so about 45 minutes or so, 46, 47 minutes from right now is when the coverage will start. The game is on Fox today for those interested, or those obviously getting ready to watch the game. And if you can't watch the game because it's not on your local, tune into the JAKIB Green Zone. You'll have the full call here on JAKIB Sports.
Keep an eye on this, though, Zander. Keep an eye on this. Here's one thing, too, because I don't want to speak for John here on this, but at the end of the year, when you start talking about home field advantage, losing NFC games like you did to the New York Giants, dude, if I'm going to drop a game, I'm going to drop a game to an AFC team. This game again, too, because I think it's going to come down 11, 12, 13. Someone's going to be in that room for getting home field advantage. And these games in the NFC, you may go like this. Well, this game really is not a must win, but maybe towards the end of the year when you got to play Washington, in that kind of freaky way, you go Washington, Buffalo, Washington. And I just think that this is a pretty big game here because it's an NFC game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I say that all the time. If you want to lose a game, you want to lose it out of conference. But I don't look at this team and say they're going to go on a run like they went last year after they sort of recalculated after the early bye. I don't think they're going 15-2.
No,
I think this is going to be more like in a 11-6 type season, something like that. And yeah, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a lot different. So they're going to lose some games. I'm just saying from the standpoint of you never want to lose any game, but certainly AFC. And you look at NFC foes, and of course you want to win those games. I just don't think it's realistic. But then I look at the NFC and I say, who's that great?
Yeah, no one.
So I'm like, if you're playing your best football in December and into January, that should be the goal. And I think they could go into even Tampa Bay, as they already did, go into Detroit, go into Green Bay, wherever they have to go and win a football game as long as they're playing their best football at the right time. But, yeah, I'm not expecting last season. People who are, it's a must-win. I'm not expecting that, so I don't consider it a must-win.
Yeah, good stuff here, guys. Your final thought today. Sills, I'll start with you, brother. Both of you guys got me conflicted on this game. We'll see what ends up happening with it. Sills, your final thought here on this Week 7 matchup, Eagles-Vikings.
If they drop this game in Philly on Monday.
Oh, God. We're going to hear a lot more of those big skills last.
Hey, my God almighty. You talk meetings, Pete, this thing will be on. And if you lose to Wentz, this thing on Monday will be off the chain, man. People will be putting out all kinds of fires.
Don't worry, Brandon's coming back. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, because the old guys have worked so well for us, right? Robert Quinn and Shaq
John,
Leonard and all this. Come on, man.
Let me ask one question to John. Kevin Patullo, Jalen Hurts, or Nick Sirianni, who's under the most pressure heading into this game?
Well, Jalen, because he's playing. But from the standpoint of Kevin's under the most pressure because he's the scapegoat. Like they're not getting rid of the quarterback, they're not getting rid of the coach.
Okay.
He's already the designated scapegoat. He's been from the start. So from that standpoint, but he can't go on the field. So I mean,
everything John hates about sports talk, me and Carton love. I can't wait to see this game.
That's so true.
I just say, you see it. It's not just Craig. You see it all over.
It is.
You see the same thing. You look, these guys, and by the way, I give them credit. They're smart. They see the bye week and they see problems, and it's easy, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Howard Eskin threw out the other day on my show. He goes, "Hey, the best quarterback's the backup." You're like, no, he's not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but hey, Howard got a lot of attention.
500,000 views on that thing.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're joking about that now. They drop these next two games. That'll be a popular take.
Xander, you think the Eagles are really gonna?
Popular doesn't mean right.
Right. Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying it's right now. He's the only guy saying that. If they lose two straight, you watch how many people are saying that.
I don't think it's realistic. You're going to lose these next two.
It's not realistic. There's no way.
No. That's why. I mean, but I don't know what people want.
There's no 23 meltdown coming.
John, what's your final thought here in the pregame show?
My final thought is the Eagles are going to run the football effectively, and they're going to win this game.
All right. Well, we'll see what ends up happening. Good stuff. We got one more super chat to read, guys, and it is from the legendary Brian Pumper. 40-year-old BG is the answer. Holy moly, this is going off the rails. Vikings 36-18.
I'll tell you what. This is a big game for Carson Wentz, man.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to lose if he plays poorly and a lot to gain if he plays well. That's another part. He's probably going to turn the football over. Jalen is not. That's another reason why I lean towards Philadelphia.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Good pregame show today. We will talk to
always
John.
Murray's too. Murray's Steakhouse too, John, up there.
Yeah, Murray's or Manny's. Manny's is great as well.
Murray's good too. So I can't wait.
You guys are like steak connoisseurs today. I love it.
Hey, I can't wait for us to eat in a post-game show here. I can't wait to see how this bad puppy comes out here.
Oh, gosh. All right, we'll see what ends up happening. John, talk to you on the halftime show, brother, and the post-game show. Big Sil, see you on the post-game. Appreciate both of you guys.
See you later, guys.
All right, see ya.
All right, good stuff there from Johnny Mac and Big Sills. Both of those guys here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. As we get ready, I'll take some score predictions. Come on, guys. Hit me in the chat with some score predictions for the game today. Keese, you got a lot of confidence today, Keese. I see it. You're like M. Reyes today, Keese. Gary, I don't know how you're feeling. Stephen Webb, what are you thinking, Stephen Webb? RMP, thanks for membering up, brother. What are you thinking today for this game? Steven D'Angelo's got 23-20. I got 24-20 Eagles, but I can't say I'm confident in my prediction today, folks. Mrs. Sparks has 20-23 Vikings. Ooh, 48-13. Lucius, you're in La La Land. 48-13. When have you seen that? 41-17 Vikings. Holy moly. 21-20 Eagles. Okay, that's a little closer. TK Fresh has the Birds. KCA Eagles. 28-24 Eagles. Wayne Miller, 28-23. Wayne, you and Johnny Mack have the same score. GP says 28-24 Vikes. Abe, 30-20 Vikings. Holy shit. You guys got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Waddington checking in. Me and Waddington, we're like two heavyweights in the ring this week. Me and B-Wad. He says 27-24 Eagles. Jake the make on a game-winning field goal. Let's go, Birds. All right. 31-17. Once Hurts stopped listening to these coaches. Luis, I don't think that's the biggest problem there, but I understand where you're coming from with it. Flex and Steppen says 24-20 Vikings. Holy moly. I've never seen so many Vikings picks in our chat. I have never seen so many Vikings picks in our chat or opposing team picks in our chat. Oh, man. Keith says 31-21 Birds, baby. Keith, you've been optimistic. You're like the optimistic Aussie today, dude. You are way optimistic for me. I mean, I get what everybody's saying. M. Reyes, it's all in the offensive line. Steven D'Angelo running the ball. Guys, and I'm pushing back on John too. We have no evidence of great offensive line play this year. Healthy or not healthy. Zero evidence yet. So is the assumption just based on what we did last year that they're going to just turn it around in week 7 here? I mean, this isn't week 3 anymore. We got 6 games. It's a pretty good sample size. Going into week 7, Sports Chat brings up a good question. Who's covering Addison? Sports Chat, doesn't matter who it is. They're not going to do a good job. All right? They're not going to be able to hang with him. He's a good receiver. Jalen Carter's back. All right. That doesn't mean anything for the offensive line and being able to run the football, but Hart, I know they're injured. I just don't know why people think that they're going to just come in and all of a sudden go back to domination. They haven't dominated one game this year. How many sacks do we have this year? Not a lot. All right. Is Q back? Q is going to play today. Hakalugi is a hilarious nickname. On NFL.com, they're calling him Hawk Tua Carter, which is not a nickname you want. You want to have in the league. So, all right, guys, I got 24-20 Birds. Again, that's my prediction, but I'm not very confident in it today. I am not very confident in it today. All right? So, let's see what ends up happening. Love all you guys. Thanks for tuning in here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. We'll be back live for the halftime show. And for those who are out of the market, who don't get the game wherever they live, tune into the Green Zone. And if you do get the game and you don't want to listen to the cruddy announcers, listen to Joe Krause on the JAKIB Green Zone today. He will stream the full game starting at 1 o'clock. So right when the game kicks off here in JAKIB Sports, he'll give you the full play-by-play. And in my humble opinion, Joe Krause has the best play-by-play voice in the nation. So tune in on there on the JAKIB Green Zone. We'll be live. We'll be live for the halftime show, Johnny Mack and myself, and we'll be back live for the JAKIB postgame show, the legendary JAKIB postgame show. It's going to be a good one, folks. Guys, we need a fucking win. I know it's not a must-win game. We need a win. Don't even try and tell me we don't. You all feel it. Even the M. Reyeses of the world who are delusionally optimistic in their life on the Eagles. We need a win today. We dropped 3 straight. Carson Wentz can't run the ball. Oh, goodness. We need a W today. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.